Thank you, and please be seated. Good morning and welcome to the 2024 May graduation ceremony for the Australian College of Applied Professions. My name is Andrew O'Brien. I'm the Melbourne Campus Manager and your Master of Ceremonies for this morning's proceedings. I would like to offer a very special welcome for those tuning in via the live stream. One of the few benefits, I guess, of COVID is that we have been able to now live stream our ceremonies so that family and friends and colleagues who are unable to be with us can share the occasion with their graduates. So welcome to those tuning in online. We would like to thank today, as well as congratulating our graduates, thanking everybody who has supported our graduates on their journey, and we look forward to doing that through the ceremony. Before we begin the proceedings, or going further with the proceedings, I would like to invite Auntie Zita Thompson, respected elder and descendant of the Yarra Yarra clan of the Wurundjeri people through her father and grandfather Alexander Biggs. Auntie Zita is a descendant of the Ilupna clan of the Yorta Yorta people on her mother and grandmother's side, Teresa Yarramuck Clements. And Auntie Zita, welcome to stage to conduct a welcome to country. Auntie Zita.
That is to acknowledge the ancestors when we have our any ceremonies on country. Uminjaka, welcome. Bonda Plaiwik, respects to our ancestors. We pay respects to our ancestors because we have the oldest living culture on earth. I must acknowledge everyone here today and our distinguished guests. When we take part in ceremony, it's our cultural obligation to acknowledge the people and the lands. So I must pay respects to my grandfather of the Yarra Yarra clan of the Wurundjeri tribe and his 11 children, my father being one of them. My grandfather was born on Corandurk Aboriginal Reserve in the 1800s when things were miserable for all Aboriginal people right across the country. When things were different from when over the centuries. We have a spiritual connection to our country. Our ancestors were the first environmentalists, always looking after country. They were astronomers in the Aboriginal way, able to read the heavens and the stars. They were law men and women, medicine men and women of high degree, and they were our teachers. The Welcome to Country protocol is based on the old Aboriginal traditional law and practice that's been handed down over many thousands of years. Everyone knew their boundaries back then. They were the rivers, mountains, rock formation, and tree markings. They were like signposts for our people. The meaning of Wurundjeri is Wurrun, meaning manna gum tree, and Jiri, meaning witchetty grub in the tree. Wurundjeri, so we're the Wurundjeri tribal group. I also acknowledge Bunurong tribe, who we share parts of country with, and all the Kulin tribes. The 5 Kulin tribes are Jaja Wurrung, Tana Wurrung, Wata Wurrung, Buna Wurrung, and Woi Wurrung, the Wurundjeri, where they once gathered in this area for ceremony many years back. The Birrung River, which you all can see on this country, the river of mist and shadows, is an important spiritual place for our people, a great food source, and over time our people used to fish from their bark canoes. It flows from Mount Baw Baw and into Naarm, Melbourne. We have no buildings like other countries. The beauty is in the land itself, because that is where our spirit lives. We gain our identity from our tribal lands. Each tribe has special connection to the places on their country. All our stories are in the earth and heavens, stories that are handed down about creation and how things come to be. The moon and the stars, all Dreamtime stories. They are records through the generation to our descendants. The southern states bore the brunt of first contact, of the invasion of our country. And at that time, Aboriginal people were sought to be controlled and have them assimilate into the wider community, as they were seen as a nuisance to the government and the new landowners at that time. And it's important for our people to still be able to explain and speak about our past on our country. The Kulin tribes were amongst the first in Victoria to experience impact of settler invasion, as convicts and squatters took possession of our land. Our people from many tribes throughout Victoria were rounded up and taken from their traditional lands and put on mission stations, where they were kept under strict government control, having to ask permission for whatever they needed. There was no respect back then for our old cultural ways and laws, and we had bosses that were the mission managers in charge of all the missions where all our people were, and a Aboriginal Protection Board with no Aboriginal people on that board. It's important that we still give a bit of information about us. Aboriginal young people learned life skills when they were very young, watching their families, parents and elders. They were taught survival skills, how to find water, if there was no water around. This is how I was brought up too, because I lived out in the country. How to track for food. They knew how to track people. They knew if it was a man, woman, or an old person, a child, and if they were sick, tall. They also knew how to cover their tracks and keep themselves safe. Then the elders, the warriors, conducted a test, like a graduation test for the people, young ones back then. And that was to see if they were okay to go out into the world on their own and look after family and so forth. and then they'd go out as young men and women and end up being able to survive. But as the new settlers moved across our country, the way of life changed drastically for our people, and never to be the same again. Aboriginal children were not to be educated past grade 3. They didn't want them to know too much back then, as the life for our people was to be trained to be domestics for the station owners and well-to-do people on our country, and have all the children looking after their children. But today our people are taking their place in the world and on country, and trying to make things better, all moving forward within our communities. There's opportunities now that were not offered for our people. So it's very pleased to be here today, to be able to share 5 or 10 minutes of our cultural business. And Waminjaka Wurundjeri Balik Yiman Kandibik, welcome to the land of the Wurundjeri people, and may you all keep safe, and thank you.
On behalf of the college and our guests today, Auntie Zita, thank you very much for a wonderful welcome. Thank you. As an aside, folks, next time you're on the campus, Auntie Zita's daughter Simone is a very talented artist and was commissioned to prepare a piece of artwork for the college, and that is on display with the story of the land and the artwork. So I do encourage you to have a look at that next time you're on campus. Next up, for our celebration this morning, I'd like to invite our ACAP Executive General Manager, Education, Lucy Schultz, to officially welcome our guests, graduands and college staff. Lucy.
Thank you, Andrew. Esteemed guests, colleagues, graduands, family and friends, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful occasion in the life of our graduands. Today represents the culmination of the great commitment, effort and dedication by each graduate sitting before us. The achievement for which all of you should be immensely proud. To the graduands, whilst this is your day and your achievement, I want you to remember those who have helped you along the way. Your family, your friends, your ACAP educators, and the broader ACAP team. We are all very proud of you today. To our many wonderful academic staff and educators, thank you for all that you have done to educate and support our graduates. To the library team, the sales and admissions staff, the marketing team, the accessibility and student learning support staff, the IT team, the student engagement staff, the placements team, and our campus manager. The often unseen people in our various administrative and support teams who have helped our graduates reach this day. I want to particularly thank you. Graduates, I also hope that you have made some strong connections, that you have connected with your educators, your professors, the ACAP staff, your industry, and of course, your fellow graduates. Connections are very powerful in life. They can open doors, help with a problem, refer a client, and importantly, they can keep you grounded. You never know where and when a connection will help you. Graduates, I've asked you today to remember those who have helped you along your learning journey, and I've asked you to make and keep connections. My hope is that these are also skills that you have learnt as part of your time at ACAP. We are proud to call you our alumni, and we would love for you to keep connected with us and to share your stories and continue to achieve great things. Best of luck as you continue with your careers, and again, my congratulations to each and every one of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. And now on to the conferring of awards. First of all, in the discipline of counselling. Today's ceremony is one of the most ancient ceremonies of higher education. It is the formal presentation of candidates by the faculty, represented by a leading academic from each discipline, to the chair of the academic board. Chair of the academic board represents the authority of our institution, the Australian College of Applied Professions, to confer awards. I now invite Professor Vicky Hutton, Chair of the Discipline of Counselling, to present graduates to Professor John Rosenberg, Chair of the Academic Board.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Diploma of Counselling Skills. Mercedes Chloe Brits. Naomi Ferdinand. Marcelle Anne Perrette. Rochelle Heather Walters. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Diploma of Counselling Skills, graduating with merit, Amelie Veronica Mullen. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Associate Degree of Counselling Skills, Silvana Diodato. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Counselling, Bassem Bardan. Hayden Jeffrey Beams. Jessica Olivia Bowes. Anne Marie Cox. Jamie Summer Edwards. Eloise Leah Evans. Sue Faye Fagerland. Shannon Kathleen Ferris. Kobe Michelle Guy. Christine Joan Ivalia. Marika Vesna Kovac. Andrea Elizabeth Kynock. Josephine Claire Layton. Diana Leeson. Hainet Mohammed. James Robert Rentschler. Peter Elizabeth Mary Solkia. Anita Asanta Tomaselia. Adele Vanish. Karen Renata Veldhusen. Jessica Louise Wilcox. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Graduate Certificate of Applied Coaching, Sarah Nicole Kay. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Graduate Diploma of Counselling, Adiba Azif. Marina Butterworth. Michael James Duncan. Sally Estefo. Grace Ledden. Sarah Louise Lonsdale. Chloe Pang. Joanne Rice. Sanila Ricolo. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Master of Counselling and Psychotherapy. Ikram Mohammed Abdul Qadir. Sarah Marie Ardienti. Alkam Baykan. Madeline Bundy. Shelley Cowden. Ilona Eno Maria Yakola. Nithi Mani. Monique Taylor Newman. Evangeline Victoria Osborne. Sia Louise Pickersgill. Siddhartha Sainti. Fiona Tate. Emma Rose Vasey. Anita Kate Wilson. Callum Harrison Young.
Thank you, Professor Hutton. I now invite Dr. Tatenda Mano, Discipline Lead in the Discipline of Social Work, to present graduands to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Diploma of Community Services, Joshua McKinley. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Social Work, Sandhya Kadaria, David Miller, Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, Caroline Chand, Ambika Dungana, Ma Gabrieli Fernandez, Ashu Gag, Sonali Himasha, Catherine Ann Jacob, Amin Kaur, Belinda Mego, Sumudu Nanayakara, Hin Nguyen, Trimana Pereira, Priyanka, Nazneen Rahman, Bawani Sharma, Hiranthi Henadig, Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Graduate Certificate of Human Services, graduating with merit. Maria Pino, Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Master of Social Work qualifying. Bulua Tifa Hadej Jorin, Jemai A. Gelong, Huznain Alisha, Eno Obong Emmanuel Anam, Hilda Bigon, Annalise Caligari, Magdalena Cavallo, Mansi Chaudhary, Astrid Dila Sena, Ruchira Damatilaka, Ayo Anwan Philip Eno, Shitliga Jagarek, Leah Gatenya, Zinatu Arekniaka Gatsus, Devni Gunadasa, Lynette Mary Hopkins, Rajbe Kaur, Ramandeep Kaur, Aisha Kawa, Nguyen Van Tilly, Michael Loftus, Pooja Mahajan, Nilam Chirag Mali, Meenakshi, Stephanie Jerry Jogu, Diniti Panditaratna, Princess Paza, Ruth V. Rathod, Ajuni Relan, Kimberly Nobledo, Noadeep Sandhu, Shitao, Anisha Prajapati, Parampreet Singh, Sarah Street, Ling To, Lakshani Gedara, Noah Willoughby,
Thank you, Dr. Mano Mano. I now invite Professor John Rees, our Psychology Melbourne Campus Discipline Lead, to present graduands to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Bachelor of Psychological Science, Stephanie Natoli. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Psychological Science and Counselling, Samantha Jane Barbusis. Brianna Rose Bell. Nathan Marcus Cairns. Joanna Kotsonis. Avan Girish Gupta. Massima Hamidi. Arlene Chun Peng Liu. Nadia Lino. Isabella Stokol. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Psychological Science and Criminology. Jo Marie Gerritz. Jade Taylor. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you the candidate for the Bachelor of Psychological Science, graduating with Honours Class 2, Natasha Haley Oldacre. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Graduate Certificate of Psychological Science, Genevieve Eleanor Gronewagen.
Thank you, Professor Rees. I now invite Matthew Thurgood, Senior Lecturer and Course Coordinator of the Discipline of Criminology and Justice, to present the graduates to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidate for the Associate Degree of Criminology and Justice, Sundos Taha. Professor Rosenberg, I present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Criminology and Justice, Jasmine Melissa Majewski. Saja Nabulsi. Samantha Lee Sherlock.
Thank you, Matthew. I now invite Mr. Adam Day, Course Leader in the Discipline of Law, to present graduates to Professor Rosenberg.
Professor Rosenberg, I present to you a candidate for the Graduate Diploma of Legal Practice, Shamoon Eloise Shamoon.
Thank you, Adam. Now, this is the point where I have to check I haven't missed anybody, because there's many ways you can make a mess of being the MC, but missing a graduate is not one you want to do. So Cassie, all done? Okay. congratulations to all of our graduates. I now invite Professor Rosenberg to deliver the charge to graduates. Would all graduates please stand?
Today you stand before this assembly to be acknowledged as joining the ranks of the scholarly peers. In today's ceremony, you've been clothed in the symbols of scholarship: cap, gown and parchment, very ancient symbols, to indicate to the wider community of scholars and the public at large that you've reached the completion of your studies with us. As ACAP graduates, we charge you with the mission, the mission to seek out your place in the human services industries and pursue a meaningful, sustainable and successful career. You make us proud to succeed in your studies, and through this public acknowledgement of your achievement, we send you forward as graduates and ACAP alumni. Honoured guests, colleagues, family and friends, I present to you the newest ACAP graduates.
Graduates, please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce and welcome our occasional speaker for today's ceremony. Dr. Sarah McLean is a Professor of Social Work and Social Policy at La Trobe University. Sarah is a qualified social worker with a PhD in Sociology. Sarah has published extensively on alcohol and inhalant use, and in recent years also on gambling. Sarah's approach is strongly collaborative, and she has a long-term partnership with staff in community agencies. While Sarah has worked as an academic for the past decade, her earlier career was as a youth worker and senior public servant. This has given Sarah a keen understanding of the importance of making relevant research. This has given Sarah a keen understanding of the importance of making research relevant and accessible to service and policy staff. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sarah McLean.
Hello graduates, colleagues and guests. Thank you for that very lovely introduction, which I think stole half of my speech, so you'll have to hear it again because I'm going to talk a little bit about my career. I've so enjoyed seeing everybody at this really beautiful venue, and I've really loved hearing the music. Thank you so much for that. But let me start by adding my most heartfelt congratulations to this year's graduating students and say what an honour it is to be invited to address you and your family and friends and your academic staff here this morning. So, as others already have today, I'd like to acknowledge that we're gathering on the lands of the Wurundjeri people, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, emerging, and extend this respect to any First Nations people who are here today. And I really enjoyed Auntie Zita Briggs-Thompson's welcome to country this morning, and it reminded me as someone whose ancestors were uninvited visitors to this land of how much reparation still we need to pay for Aboriginal and other First Nations peoples. I'd also really like to acknowledge the families, friends and partners who are here today, and I gather that you could hear, because I could hear some whoops of excitement when some people received their qualifications. Few people do a degree without support and care from others around them, and I would like to acknowledge all the support that families and carers have given you as you've been through your academic journey at ACAP. And also to acknowledge the staff, because I know how hard academic staff work and how it's not a 7-hour-a-day job. It's one that extends into all aspects of our lives. Inevitably, being at a graduation takes you back to your own, and I have, for better or worse, managed 4 academic degrees, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit briefly about my career. So my first degree was in arts at Melbourne Uni. I started it when I was 18 and I graduated in 1989. After that, I I took up a job as a youth housing worker, which I did for a couple of years. And I'm just going to tell you a tiny bit about this because I think it really highlights the value of doing a qualification such as those that you have been awarded today in criminology, social work, psychology. I tried to write them down as I was listening to you receiving your degrees. Counselling, coaching, community services, criminology and justice. Did I miss any? Law, and law, legal studies as well. I started my job as a youth housing worker. I was a 10 to 24-year-old, and the degree that I was equipped with was an honours arts degree from Melbourne Uni. It was in English literature and social theory. For those of you who don't know about social theory, it's kind of the theoretical end of sociology, like studying theories around Marxism or post-structuralism. So although it was an incredibly useful degree, and I've gone on to use it in entirely unexpected ways, and I don't want to diss doing an arts degree, it wasn't that practical for a career as a youth housing worker. So although I had this qualification, I didn't have a professional framework for my youth work practice, and I'm going to provide a couple of examples for why that was a problem when I was 24. So when I was 24, I started this job. I was incredibly enthusiastic, and I think in the second week of my employment, one of the people on the management committee, one of my bosses, rang me up and said, there's been an allegation that one of the people in our program, so we provided housing to young people who are homeless, that one of the young men in the program had raped a young woman, and that the police were trying to find him in relation to that allegation. So he told me to go to the house where that young man was and tell him to hand himself into the police. So I was kind of anxious, like I was only 24 myself, I was frightened. I said, would you come with me? And he said, no, that's your role to do that kind of work. So I, terrified, but not knowing that, in fact, I could have said no, I went to the house and I found the two young women housemates who were really frightened. I picked them up and took them back to the office. But if I'd had any sense or a professional framework for what I was doing, I would have insisted that someone come with me to the house or else called the police to come with me to the house. So as a 24-year-old, I provided support, probably not terribly well, to young people who had life experiences really different to my own. And I remember working with a young Vietnamese woman. She was only 16, she had no contact with her family, she was a refugee, and she had a baby. And she was asking me questions about infant care that I, at 24 with no children, had absolutely no idea how to answer. Now, after having children myself and qualifying as a social worker, I think I'd be more aware of the range of services that I could have made sure she was connected in, or perhaps looked up information for her or helped her in a more constructive way. And maybe I did some useful things too, who knows? But the main memories that stand out for me from that period of my life are the times when I was really at sea and I didn't know what to do. I then decided that I needed another qualification. I considered doing social work, but I decided not to because my mother was a social worker. That was not a very grown-up reason not to do social work. But instead I enrolled in and completed a Master of Health Studies at La Trobe. And then I went and worked in health policy in the Northern Territory. And that's where I really found my calling. And since then, I've been focused on understanding and recommending responses to alcohol and other drug use. I did a lot of work on petrol sniffing in the NT, and most of my research since has been qualitative studies seeking to understand people's experiences and perspectives on alcohol and drug use so we can align policy responses better to what people's needs and experiences are. So after a while, I came back to Melbourne with my partner and our first child, who was then a toddler, and I started my PhD, which was interviewing young people who chrome. I don't know if you might have heard of chroming. It's a kind of inhalant use that was popular back in the early 2000s, relatively popular, obviously particularly among highly marginalised young people. This took me quite a while, and I've been working as an academic ever since. About 8 years ago, I moved to La Trobe and started working in the discipline of social work and social policy. And I found out that I really love teaching social work because it's an opportunity to apply my theoretical skills and interests to really complicated real-world life issues that social workers deal with all the time. And I really enjoy helping students understand connections between theory and practice. So after a few years of thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to have to study yet again, I decided that I needed to do a social work degree. And I chose to do it at ACAP. I started doing it during the lockdowns, the early lockdown time, because I had lots of spare time. and I graduated last year. So I do know what it's like to study at ACAP, and I also do know what it's like to study and work at the same time, as I'm sure a lot of you would have done too. I also loved being around so many international students at ACAP who brought amazing insights and reflections from their own cultural background and helped me to question the kind of Western paradigms that we often work through in the disciplines that I've been trained in. So now, as a Professor of Social Work and Social Policy at La Trobe University, my research still focuses on people's experiences of alcohol and drug use, but in later years I've also done gambling research, and at the moment I'm working on a project with the Victorian Aboriginal Health Service looking at gambling in the community. We did a survey and qualitative interviews. Another project that I'm really enjoying has been working with young people who leave residential alcohol and drug treatment services. We've interviewed them over a year and tried to understand their trajectories and the resources that they need in order to do as well as possible in that year after leaving residential drug treatment. So as a researcher, I think sometimes research gets a bad rap in the health and community services sector, but I do, as a researcher, really encourage you to jump at opportunities that you get to be involved in research. It provides unique insight into people's lives, and it allows you to advocate for your service users by reaching readers in policy and service design who can make important changes. I'd also like to encourage you to consider yourselves not just as individual practitioners, but as policy practitioners insofar as you're able to within your roles. So we've seen many examples of professional staff working with agencies, perhaps Victorian Council of Social Services or disability agencies, on shared issues. And if you can, this provides opportunity to be part of changes that will affect many, many of your potential service users, and it's a really worthwhile use of your time. So although in some ways I did my career the wrong way around, ending rather than starting with social work, I got there in the end. And I wish that I'd had the practice knowledge that I gained from social work in my first job to realise that keeping myself safe was important, and insisting someone accompany me to find that young man who was not there when I went to look for him. And this is part of what we learn in social work, and I'm sure the other degrees that you've done too, as self-care and also as part of professional practice. And secondly, I wish I'd better understood the service system and where I could refer service users when I didn't have that information myself for the young woman who had a child at 16. Many of you who are graduating today will move into roles in drug and alcohol services, in the mental health care system, in child and family services, in justice and in corrections. You have a really important opportunity to be part of people's healing and recovery and holding hope for their future in which they will experience justice and equality to flourish. A part of your qualifications, you will have learned to respect the lived experience expertise of people you are supporting and helping. You can work alongside them, respecting their expertise and the fact that they are experts in their own lives, and you are just visiting those lives. And hence you also need to support those who are with them for the long haul, their families, carers and other supporters. And you will do that so much better for the professional expertise you've learnt as part of the qualifications that you have been awarded today. So I imagine that some of you feel a little anxious about moving into new professional roles, but you've been well prepared for them. Draw on your own life experiences, because that is important too, and also what you've learnt through your courses. And remember that working is lifelong learning. Never stop going to courses that are offered and extending your knowledge and thinking. Never stop questioning whether the approach that you're taking is the best one, or the best one for the person that you are working with, and never stop reading the research, because I guarantee you that it will keep moving as you progress through your career. The ideas about what constitutes best practice will change in the research and new ideas will emerge. So keep up. It's really important to keep up with developments within your profession so that you can remain actively involved in it. So just to finish, so many of you here will have had wonderful mentors from your family, from your friends, from ACAP staff, from staff at your placements. And you all now have the opportunity to be mentored, but also to mentor others. And now is the time for reflection and supervision that can help you integrate all you've learned, as well as your personal experience and values, into your new professional lives. And I hope that you will take every opportunity to mentor others and not understand the value of every gesture you offer less experienced colleagues into the future. So if I can leave you with one little bit of advice, as you progress through your careers, look for something that sparks your excitement and interest, just like alcohol and other drug use has been, well, not my own alcohol and drug use, other people's alcohol and drug use has been for me. And find something you're passionate about to build expertise. This will enable you to contribute to your profession and to build a career that will nurture and sustain you, in a sense also that you have expertise in a particular thing is really, really helpful. So I thank you for your time this afternoon and the lovely opportunity to talk to you all. Please enjoy the rest of the day. And once again, my huge congratulations to you all for your wonderful achievements. And I really wish you well for your futures. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for that wonderful contribution to today's ceremony. Chloe, I think we have a small gift of thanks. Thank you. ACAP recognises student achievement through the award of the ACAP Medal. This year's recipient is a Sydney student who will be attending the graduation ceremony in Sydney this Friday. But in his absence, please join me in acknowledging Roderick John Lander, who graduated from the Master of Psychology Practice Clinical and who is this year's ACAP Medal recipient. And now, on behalf of our current graduates, I'd like to invite Maria Pino, Graduate Certificate of Human Services graduate and valedictorian, on stage to deliver the graduate address. Maria.
Hello, well, good afternoon. And thank you for being here and give me this opportunity. This is a bit scary, but here we go. So I embarked on a new adventure when I started this diploma. Studying in a new country, using a different language, and within a new culture was a completely different experience for me. Everything was so different from what I was accustomed to. Representing the ACAP Melbourne students at this graduation ceremony, almost a year later, feels a bit surreal. It is also a great honor. My achievement results from a clear purpose. I will repeat that. My achievement results from a clear purpose: to learn, to be curious, and to become competent. I didn't set out to be the top student in my class or campus. That is why it feels so unreal to me. I had never achieved the same, not even in my country or language. However, being a 38-year-old immigrant, a mother of two, and having followed a professional path has taught me to value my time, effort, and work. Obtaining my diploma has been a great challenge. I had left my beloved country, Venezuela, and moved to Australia with my husband and children. We have lived in this beautiful city for 5.5 years and have had to work really hard to make a living without relatives or support. Thankfully, my husband and I started a small family business, allowing me to pursue my graduate studies. However, I never anticipated how difficult it would be to balance business, studies, and the family life we face without support from other family members or friends. My house is a little messier than usual. Very messy, actually. But I just keep in mind that outstanding achievements require significant efforts. Despite all this, I'm grateful for the excellent support from my teachers and unit coordinators. They were not only professional, but also empathetic to my personal situation. As a Latina, Venezuelan, I'm amazed by the planning that goes into each unit and the dedication of the university's academic and administrative staff to our academic and personal well-being. Furthermore, I found terrific colleagues who helped me clarify doubts and with whom I formed a very interesting group of friends, a truly multicultural community that I am proud to belong to. I would like to thank my husband, Edinson, up there, who always believed in me, admired me, and worked so hard in and out of home to help me achieve our goals and give our daughters the best possible future. Gracias, mi amor. I also express a big gratitude to my parents, Luis y Tamar. They are watching live from Venezuela. Papi, mami. Because they were here when I had to prepare for the English exam in order to enter to the college, and they helped me so much to study with my gears and everything. Last but not least, I must thank Emma and Cora, my little ones, for the time they sacrificed for me to study and work, and for being my biggest motivation to strive for excellence in everything I do. Gracias, pequeñas. Thank you. Completing the Diploma in Human Services was a crucial step towards achieving my goal of obtaining a master's degree in social work. My classmates and I started our social work degree in February this year, and I am honestly unsure if I will be able to achieve the same level of success again. But the most important thing is that I really enjoy doing this diploma on human services. It seems like the perfect entry level to social work career because it helped me so much to understand, It helped me so much to understand Australia better from political, social, and cultural perspectives, which is absolutely necessary to embark on the complex task of defending and helping the most vulnerable in society. Going forward, what I wish the most for my colleagues and myself is to continue learning and honing our skills to excel in the work field when the time comes, dramatically improving the life of the people we will have the honor of helping. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the ACAP staff for their unwavering support and hard work in putting so many academic and human tools at our service. I would also like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to our loved ones, whether they are present in this room or miles away in our homeland, for their also unwavering support in helping us achieve our goals and aspirations. And of course, I would also like to highly validate each and every one of the graduates today for their well-deserved success. Let's give them a round of applause and thank you.
Thank you, Maria. And Chloe has a small token of our thank you. So, folks, we are now approaching the end of this morning's, or now this afternoon's ceremony. But before we do finish. I would like to thank our distinguished guests, our academic staff, our professional staff, and all those who have made this graduation ceremony possible. Cassie leads a wonderful team of our professional staff behind the scenes to deliver our graduations, and we thank them very much for all that wonderful work. The student speech each ceremony for me is always a highlight, and I reflect on when I was an undergraduate. I didn't quite make it. My second year as an undergraduate ended up being the best 5 years of my life, and I never quite made it down the aisle. But I went back as a postgraduate student and made up for my younger ways. And I was able to only do that because of the support of family, friends, work colleagues. And Maria did a wonderful job in outlining the support from her family. Before we do close, I would like my graduates and academic colleagues to join me with a special round of applause for all of the family, friends, parents, neighbours, work colleagues, everybody who has supported our graduates along the way. So to all of you, special thanks. Following the ceremony, we will be serving refreshments at the back of the hall, so please join us. Regalia needs to be returned by 1:30, so we have between now and then for photos, both with the professional photos but also with family. I know my colleagues and I will be around and either holding the camera for you or joining you in photos. If you are out the front, there's a good chance you might see one of the trams go past, which has got the ACAP banners on it, so that's a good photo if you can get that as it zips past while you're in your gear. So I'll probably be standing out there all day till I at least get a couple of snaps like that. So this does bring us to the conclusion. Thank you everybody for being part of today's ceremony and for all your contributions. If I could ask everybody to stand and then for the graduates to follow out the academic procession.